Since the inception of modern-day pregnancy help centers, millions of lives have been saved from abortion by offering mothers in need with the alternative resources they need in order to choose life. But have you ever wondered how the most successful pregnancy centers save so many lives each year? My name is Benjamin Kraft, President and founder of Life Advancement Group, and in this video, I'm going to be going over the results of a recent groundbreaking study which will reveal this very secret. The secret of how to reach more abortion-minded women and significantly increase your center's life saves. Now, before I get to that, I want to share with you the important and relevant story of a famous military general whose unconventional tactics and strategic vision led him to victory in some of the toughest battles of World War II. His name was General George Patton, and he's considered to be one of the greatest military minds in the 20th century. Patton was known for his aggressive and decisive leadership style. He was famous for taking bold risks on the battlefield. But what many people don't know is that he was also a master of logistics and supply chain management. He knew how to focus his resources on the most critical areas of the battlefield and how to prioritize his troops' needs to ensure their success. One of Patton's most famous campaigns was the Battle of the Bulge, a crucial turning point in the war in Europe. Now, despite being outnumbered and outgunned, Patton was able to rally his troops and push through the enemy lines, breaking their defensive posture and securing a critical victory for the Allies. So why do I bring up this story? Well, it's because there's a lot we can learn from George Patton's military genius when it comes to marketing for pregnancy centers. First, I'd like you all to consider some similarities. George Patton was engaged in a physical battle against the Nazis who were committing mass genocide against the Jewish people. Now today, while our battle may not be physical, we too are engaged in a battle for the very lives and well-being of the women and babies in our community. Furthermore, Patton was outnumbered and outgunned by the German army. Similarly, pregnancy centers face a media and cultural climate that is largely hostile to their pro-life message, and an abortion lobby that is much better funded. So how then was Patton able to overcome these circumstances, and how could pregnancy centers learn from this? The answer lies in his utilization of resources. Just like Patton focused his tanks on the weakest spots in the enemy line, pregnancy centers need to focus their marketing efforts on the most critical areas where they can have the greatest impact. So what are those critical areas? The answer lies in the data from this recent groundbreaking study published by Bright Course and 5 different marketing organizations who are members of the Pro-Life Marketing Ethics Council. This data from hundreds of centers across the US is the largest study ever conducted of its type, and I think you'll find the results really eye-opening. Now, for the sake of time, I won't be covering this data in its entirety, so I encourage you to read the full study after this video. For now, let's take a look at some of the key findings. First, we found that pregnancy centers who do no marketing at all on Google see an average of just 8.5% abortion-minded or determined clients. Furthermore, centers that added SEO to their marketing mix saw that number jump to 11%. But here's where things get really interesting. Centers who do Google Ads and SEO average 29% abortion-minded or determined clients. In other words, centers who utilize Google Ads see 244% more abortion-minded or determined clients than centers who don't. Now that's huge. Now, among the centers surveyed about their various marketing methods, they were asked which strategies attract the most clients considering or determined to undergo that abortion. Google Ads stood out with 46% of the centers identifying it as their top method. Google SEO closely followed, being the preferred choice for 38% of respondents. Together, this indicates that a significant 84% of all centers find either Google Ads or SEO as their most effective marketing tool for bringing in those abortion-minded women. Now, it's essential to note that that 84% figure comprises centers with varied marketing approaches, including some that don't engage in Google marketing at all. But when we refine our data to only look at centers that actively market on Google, among other platforms, the favorability towards Google tools becomes even more pronounced. A compelling 96% of these centers indicated that either Google Ads or SEO was their primary marketing method. Facebook ads, geofencing, billboards, all that combined only accounted for the remaining 4%. So what do we make of this data? While I believe we need to take our cue from the strategic genius of George Patton and focus our marketing efforts on the areas where we can have the greatest impact. Many of you are out there trying to diversify your marketing efforts across multiple platforms and channels, hoping to reach as many potential clients as possible. But the problem with this approach is that it could be costly and ineffective, spreading resources too thin and diluting the impact of your ministry. As Robert Kiyosaki writes in his book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, people put their already few eggs in many baskets. Another analogy my friend Dina taught me uses the example of growing tomatoes, which require a large amount of water to grow. If you had 5 tomato plants and only a limited amount of water, you could choose to evenly distribute the water amongst all 5 plants. The problem is that would result in all the plants dying. Instead, it would be better to give the plant, just one of them, the amount of water that it needs to thrive. Then, if there's any left over, you can give that to the next plant. Now, am I saying that you shouldn't do any other type of marketing other than Google? Not necessarily. But if you've only got $1,000 or $2 to spend a month on marketing, chances are you should be putting all that into pay-per-click and SEO, because those methods will give you the greatest return on your investment, which in this case means more lives saved. Only if and when you have maxed out those efforts and still have left over to spend, should you consider allocating that money into more supplemental forms of marketing like social media or billboards. I'd also like to encourage you to reflect on the intentions of a company advising you to embrace every marketing tactic. While the idea of diversifying your strategy can seem appealing and prudent, it might not always be in your best interest. I have no personal gain in telling you this, but often the diversified or scattergun strategies that certain companies promote are also the priciest, generating the most revenue for them. So in conclusion, it's okay to put our eggs into only a few baskets instead of many. We must focus our efforts on what works the most. I will leave you with this quote from Andrew Carnegie, one of the most influential American business industrialists who built our nation. Quote, "The concerns which fail are those which have scattered their capital, which means that they have scattered their brains also. They have investments in this or that or the other, here, there, and everywhere. Don't put all your eggs in one basket as all wrong. I tell you, put all your eggs in one or a few baskets, and then watch those baskets. Look round and take notice. Men who do not do that often fail. It is easy to watch and carry the one basket. It is trying to carry too many baskets that breaks most eggs in this country. He who carries 3 baskets must put one on his head, which is apt to tumble and trip him up. One fault of the American businessman is lack of concentration." So then, if you're not yet marketing on Google or are interested in taking your current marketing to the next level, please feel free to reach out to my organization at lifeadvancementgroup.org. We're happy to help. Furthermore, you can find a complete list of pro-life marketing organizations that have been vetted by the Pro-Life Marketing Ethics Council by visiting plmec.com. That's all for me today. I hope you found this information helpful, and thanks for watching, and keep up the life-saving work.